And we're joined in studio by Ceng Sagnic from the Moshe Dayan Center for Middle East and African Studies. Ceng, thank you for being with us. Talk us through a little bit about the operation itself. Turkey doesn't like the YPG, who are obviously part of this offensive, taking over Raqqa from the hands of IS. They see them as part of the PKK. What is the difference between the YPG and the PKK?
Well, I mean, definitely YPG is an extension of the Kurdish nationalist movement in Turkey. Call it the PKK or the nationalist movement itself. It's very hard to say if YPG is directly connected to the PKK network, but it's definitely somewhere in there. And the SDF, the Syrian Democratic Forces, is a different organization, which the predominant party within the organization is the YPG, but it still has a significant local Arab participation from the tribes in the organization. And more importantly, even if the YPG belonged to the PKK network and got the commands from that organization, the SDF cannot do this technically because it's a part of it's an ally of the US and the international coalition, and is supervised by the coalition. So the difference is not clear as much as the YPG itself claims that doesn't belong to the PKK, but it's not the case, not as the Turkish government says either.
How can we expect the Syrian Democratic Forces, the SDF, to cooperate with the YPG?
Well, the YPG is a part of the SDF, so it belongs to it. So whatever is happening there is actually done by the SDF, but the predominant participant in the SDF is the YPG. That's why usually the advances are called as the Kurdish advances, not the SDF advances.
What's the situation for the Kurds fighting in Mosul?
Well, the Kurds have decided not to go into the city center of Mosul after long negotiations with the central Iraqi government, as they were the only prepared force around the city center who could have entered the city at any time they wanted with the support from the coalition forces. And more importantly, the central Iraqi government required the Kurds permission to access KRG-controlled areas in order to reach Mosul for an effective operation without waiting for the areas between Mosul and central Iraq to be liberated. So this was the theme of the negotiations that lasted over 2 months, and the KRG president was also in Baghdad dealing with this issue specifically, and bringing up other issues between the Kurds and the central Iraq government. So the decision has been that the Kurdish Peshmerga forces will not go into Mosul city as long as the Iraqi forces will be doing the job there, and the Kurds will not be required. So the Kurds have made significant advances to the northeast, north, and southeast of the city, in the areas predominantly populated by the Kurds. But to this day, as Fazil also mentioned, the Golden Brigade is doing a very well job in eastern Mosul, and there's no need for the Kurdish Peshmerga to go into Mosul.
All right, Ceng Sagnic from the Moshe Dayan Center for the Middle East and African Studies, thank you very much.